Welcome, moneybags, to the charity auction marking the 30th anniversary of the war. 30 years ago, the humanitarian catastrophe of the 21st century, the Russian-Ukrainian War, happened. 30 years ago, a darkness descended on Russia and Ukraine, the cause of which is still debated by historians. According to Russian television at the time, there were various reasons. It seemed to be about Bandera mobiles, and then there were biolaboratories. Then it was considered that there was a danger of NATO advancing. And lastly, that there was a risk of building nuclear weapons in Ukraine. And there were those who did not watch the first national channel in Russia and believed that it was the fault of one president who fancied himself an emperor and who decided to write himself into history this way. But let's leave this debate to the historians, and we, the people, need to remember these events to prevent such a bloodshed in the future. We should be focused on development within us and not on military invasions of neighboring countries. So, we have 3 lots as memorable artifacts today. Lot number 1, NFT created 30 years ago by a drawn YouTube blogger. The title of the lot, Red Tragedy. This animation was created at the peak of the war and reflects the militarized, bravura and bloodthirsty nature of Russia at the time. This is by no means a reason for Russians to be proud, but a way of bravely looking at their past, which can be unpleasant, horrible and disgusting, but this is the only way we can build a brighter future. We have only 100 copies available. The price of a single copy is 0.04 Ether. Link number 1 is in the description. So, this blogger has decided to capitalize on the war? Come on, then this auction wouldn't be called a charity auction. All NFT proceeds will go towards fixing the OVD info building polygons in the metaverse. What is this OVD INFO? OVD Info is a Russian human rights organization which started its activities in December 2011. They provided information and legal support to all those who were detained at protests or found guilty under new enactments for extremism. They counted the number of detainees, maintained name lists, and made this information available to the public. Thanks to them, we know that 14,973 people were detained across Russia from February the 24th to March the 13th of 2022. Now imagine that if only 15,000 people were detained, even if we modestly calculate that every 20th person was caught, that means that 300,000 people went out to protest. And how many did not go out but were simply against the war and regime? So, OVD Info sheds light on police lawlessness and even travels to the detainees to provide legal assistance if necessary. This is why, on the 29th of September 2021, the Russian Ministry of Justice added them to the register of foreign agents, thereby greatly increasing the pain in their butts during their work. But in spite of all the restrictions, they worked until 2026. Then events happened which we all know very well. The demand and the need for their work decreased. And by 2030, they shifted to legal advice for businesses on how to influence the climate. And in 2042, we erected a monument to human rights defenders on the Red Square of Moscow, in both real and virtual worlds, in honor of all the human rights defenders working in Russia from 2011 to 2026. And we move on to lot number 2. On February the 24th, 2022, many Russians lost ground under their feet. They did not want to relate themselves to modern attributes. Their consciousness was looking for new symbols, such that on the one hand, they would not be associated with bloodthirst and aggression, but at the same time, they would not lose the identity of their origin. They are Russians, but they are against war, and it is the vector in which they would like to build their future. Title: Hope for Prosperity. Same as the previous lot, 100 copies, 0.04 Ether. Link number 2 is in the description. Lot number 3. In the 2000s, there was a conspiracy theory that there were super rich capitalists who owned all the money on the planet, who had slouched on sofas in the lodge of the Masons, and actually were not human but reptiloids. And we have obtained evidence of their existence, the very real messages from the reptiloids. Look at what they wrote, and this, mind you, was in wartime conditions, when you didn't know what the hell was going on with your future, not just your job. You would be surprised, but it is true. Due to the war in Ukraine, many countries have declared economic war on Russia. Therefore, bloggers have been cut off all means of monetization from the Russian audience. They have cut off advertising, sponsorship, and all sorts of stickers and merch. Only those who had at least some reach to foreign audiences were lucky. They were lucky to still have monetization and Patreon was especially helpful to Russian bloggers in these dark times, when the main source of their income simply evaporated. The link to Patreon is in the description with number 3. So, moneybags and philanthropists, let's recap. Lot number 1, NFT, Red Tragedy. Lot number 2, NFT, Hope for Prosperity. All the Ethereum from the NFT sales will be donated to the Russian human rights organization OVD Info. Lot number 3, link to the Patreon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the 2052 charity auction evening today. See you soon!
Нас не догнать ни мечом, обуздать нельзя, ни одна стена нипочем, ведь мы запрещенная организация. Каждый из нас обречен замечать изъян мироздания и расчесывать мы запрещенная организация.